What's up, guys? Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. I'm happy to be with all of you here. Thank you, Rabbi Fiyazi, for putting everything together. And his son also, the Rabbi, thank you very much. And I want to give a thank you to Eddie Matut for hooking me up with, this too. I only know you guys for like an hour, but I think you guys are unreal. Jersey's great. I love it. Let's drink to that. I just want to share a quick story, and then Eddie's going to speak, but I don't want to take too much time. Real quick, you ready? So, happens to be, by chance, was not planned, 5 years ago to the day today. I wake up in the morning, 5:30, I'm on my way to shul. I get a phone call from my partner's wife. My partner was in China. I get a phone call from his wife. She hasn't spoken to him in 8 hours, and she don't know where he is. She's very scared and she's worried. She's 7 months pregnant. She didn't see her husband. She doesn't know what to do. So I call up the factory that he was supposed to be with. He's in China. Again, I'm in Brooklyn. They say they don't know where he is. They dropped him off by the hotel a few hours ago. So I call up a few other people that I know there that maybe he could have been with. Nobody saw him. I go to shul, I learn, I pray. I get to my office. She calls me back, flipping out, doesn't know what to do. I call the hotel. I have them go to his room, open the door, try to find him. Not there. No clue where the guy is. We're in business together at that point 6 years. No clue where he is. It's been at least 9-10 hours. We can't find him. So I call Chabad of Hong Kong. We get them involved. Try to figure out what to do. 2-3 hours go by. 12 in the afternoon, 12:30. I get random email from him after calling him, texting, email, no response. I get an email. Please wire X amount of money, a lot, to this account. That's it. What do you do? First thing that I did was I forwarded the email to Blue Switch. I don't know if you guys heard of them. It's a big tech company, SY company. I forwarded them the email. They start tracking where that email came from to see if we could find where he is. But he's officially a hostage or kidnapped somewhere in China. So I do that. I call the police in China. I try to get them to figure out what they can do. I call my bank and say, all right, if I have to, send the money, let me get this ready. I have to put the money together, get the funds available, and maybe I'm going to have to send it. So all my employees leave the office. My parents come into the city. My partner's wife has a whole Tehillim reading in Brooklyn. They're going nuts. She's pregnant, crying, hysterical. My rabbi from Brooklyn comes into the city. All the guys that I learn with come into my office. They're doing a Tehillim reading. We're learning, figuring out what the next step is. And then we get to crunch time. I have to make a decision. This is like the deadline to make a wire to China. Am I going to make the wire? Am I not going to do it? Am I going to do it and possibly get it back within an hour but take a chance? What's Blue Switch up to? Everything's kind of coming in together. I'm flipping out. One of my friends who was there in the office pulls me over to the side and he says, I want to give you a quick Dvar Torah. It happens to be this week's parasha. Maybe it could help give you some clarity. So when the brothers are with Yosef in Mitzrayim, and they're going through the whole scenario, it's been a couple of parashiot already, they're going back and forth, they go down to get wheat, then they get sent back to Canaan, they come back with Binyamin, and there's a whole situation going on. Finally, Yosef reveals himself to the brothers and he tells them, Ani Yosef, ha'od abichai. And the pasuk says that the brothers couldn't speak. They didn't know what to say. And Rashi says, why couldn't they speak? Because they had busha. What was that busha? We will all say because they sold their brother down to be a slave, and now he's the king of Egypt, or second to the king of Egypt, and they feel all embarrassed from that. So my friend was telling me that, you see, at that moment, they were scared for how long? The brothers were very scared. They were going through a whole bunch of different things. What are they going to tell Yaakov? If they lose Binyamin, if they lose Shimon? There was a lot of stuff going on. They were very nervous. They didn't understand what was happening. And then, all of a sudden, just like that, Yosef says, Ani Yosef ha'od bichai. At one point, there's relief because they're saved from everything that was happening. And at the same time, they're also very embarrassed because of what they just missed. Like what just happened for the past 22 years, they were wrong. They feel embarrassed, like they sold their brother and they shouldn't have done it. So he was trying to tell me, based on that Torah, you should know that whatever's happening right now for you, also you have no idea what's going on. Just like they didn't know for 22 years what was happening, you don't know what's happening. Everything is going on very fast. You don't understand it, but you have to know it's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and there is going to come that time that you're going to understand it all. So if you can, at this point, know that that's coming and have bitachon and be calm and don't lose your control and stay cool and believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to come through, you won't be embarrassed later. And I took that advice. Maybe an hour later, we get to that point where Blue Switch is on the phone. Like, okay, we found the place. We blocked it down to a 4-block radius. We can go in and try to get him. HSBC's on the phone. What do you want to do? Do you want to send the wire? Do you want to send it and maybe pull it back, but you have risks? I said, just send it, and whatever happens, happens. We sent it. 20 minutes later, he gives me a call. He's okay. He's back in the hotel, and everything is fine. Baruch Hashem, the whole story was clean. We lost the money, but whatever, it happens. So I was just thinking, it's tonight we're all here. It's the same parasha, and you guys you could take that lesson, and it applies to you guys just as much as it applied to me that day. If you think about it, you're all here for the year. You all came to learn. Maybe you didn't all come specifically to learn, but deep down you came because there's Torah in Eretz Yisrael more than there is in Brooklyn. You're all here. You might be taking advantage of it. You might not. But I guarantee you, when you get back to Jersey, wherever it is that you're going home to, when you get back after this time is over, there's gonna come that point where you're gonna say, I missed it. I could have done it and I didn't. I could have taken advantage, but I didn't. I could have done if it's a little bit more or a lot more. Everyone has their own scale, but you're gonna feel that busha that all the brothers felt in Mitzrayim. And you have a chance now. Just like my friend told me, I'm telling you guys, don't let that happen. You still have time. You can still make that change. I was telling Tuna's brother before. Every day that you have here is not a day in the United States. It's 100 days in the United States. You're in Eretz HaKodesh now. The time here is worth so much more than it is there. You have a chance to take advantage of the opportunity. When you get home, it's not going to be like it is here. I was telling Eddie before that also this week's parasha, Yaakov and the brothers are going down to Egypt, and Paro sends the Agalot. Yaakov for 20 years, he had no Ruach HaKodesh. He was in Avelut, even though Yosef was alive. He didn't know that, so he was never able to have from Shemaim. He was never to get over it, so he didn't speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for years. Now he finally finds out Yosef is alive. Yaakov is moving down to Egypt with all his kids. What do you think he would do in that position? I would rush. There's chariots waiting to take you down to Egypt to go see your son that you didn't see. Right? It could have been one of the Avot, Yosef Avinu could have been. And now you have a chance to go see him. You thought he was dead and he's alive. You can go down there. Instead of going, he sends Yehuda first. Why does he do that? Because there's no Beit Midrash in Egypt, and Yehuda needs to build that. Because Yaakov Avinu is not going to leave Eretz Canaan, Eretz Yisrael, unless there is a Beit Midrash in the place that he's going. He could have just learned in Mitzrayim. He didn't need an official Beit HaMidrash. No, that wasn't good enough. He had to have a place set up and established for him to learn the second that he gets there. That was Eretz Yisrael to Mitzrayim, and that was one of the Avot. Going down to Mitzrayim. You guys are all here. You're in Eretz Yisrael right now. Of course you have to take advantage of the time that you have here. But even more so, when you go back, you have to make sure that you're set up. That you know what you're going to do when you're going to be back home. You're going to throw everything away, or you're going to plan it. You have to prepare. If you don't work on it from now, when you get there, you're not going to know what hits you. It's not like here. This is not life. This is country club for a year. As much as you're learning, or as little as you're learning, 1 year in Israel is not like real life. When you get back, there's a whole bunch of challenges that are going to hit you. You have to prepare for all that from now. Just like Yaakov did, you guys all have to do that. When you get back, you don't want to lose everything that you're investing now. Just like anyone who invests in a business doesn't want to see you go down the drain. You know, there's nothing more valuable in this world than time. Money comes and goes. You can never get back time. You guys are spending a year, some of you 2 years, in Eretz Yisrael, Eretz HaKodesh. When you go back, if you don't have something set up, somewhere to go or something to do, it's all gone. You just wasted 2 years that you can't pay money for 2 years. You know, people at the end of their lives, they can be billionaires, but to get an extra day, they can't give all that money to get it. You guys spent all that money, all those days now. You spent that time. You're going to let it go to waste, or you're going to try to save it and turn it into something much more. You have that opportunity. You have to plan that. You have to think about that. You know, there's no better life than the life of Torah. I don't think we have to talk about that in this room. Everyone in this room already should know that the life of Torah is the best life that's out there. You know, Eddie he'll talk about that. I can give you 100 stories tonight and tomorrow about how being religious is 1,000 times better than not being religious. That knowing HaKadosh Baruch Hu is much better than not knowing who He is. And the more you know Him, the closer you are, the much more you're going to enjoy life. That everyone here knows already. But are you going to let that slide, or are you going to take advantage? That's all up to you guys. You have a few months left to do it, and the reason why we're here tonight is because I just want to remind you all, don't waste it. Thank you.
Door open. Before Eddie speaks.
I'm not speaking, I just want to say something. I am better. Can you hear me better? Yeah! Better like this? The Gemara tells us, Gadol ha'me'aseh yoter min ha'oseh. What does that mean? A person who goes and does, it's a great thing. For example, somebody gives $1,000 to tzedakah, that's a tremendous thing. But if you're the me'aseh, if you went and you convinced the guy to do it, then you're even bigger than the guy. He gave $1,000 and you get a better... Yeah, that's him. Go back about 20 years ago. 25 years ago, whatever it was. I was at the synagogue where I prayed in. The synagogue that I prayed... You can hear me like this?
Yeah!
It's co-official, Rabbi. You can... The synagogue that I prayed in was someone... The one who donated the money was someone by the name of Abraham Matzi. Probably some Syrian, maybe Egyptian, somebody like that. And it was his yortzeit. It was his Yom HaShanah, and they had a whole big thing. So the Rabbi, Rav Yehuda Adis, one of the Gedolei Hador, came to speak, and he spoke about this guy Avram Matzi, and he said something very, very interesting. He said, I know Rav Yehuda Adis says, I know a lot of people who give money. Thank you. I know a lot of people who give money. Okay, a lot of people. But he says a person has to have the zechut to give his money to the right place. What does that mean? He told a story. He didn't explain who it was, but he said he once went to the kotel, and he heard a person standing up there, and he said this person had an educational system which is not exactly kosher. But he stood there at the kotel, crying his eyes out, Hashem, just like you gave me the zechut to open up the school, please be with me to open up many more schools like this. Rav Yehuda broke out, chazit this guy. He really thinks he's doing the right thing. He says, you have to have zechut to know what you're doing is right. Meaning, it's not only the question of, in that case it was, in the case of money, a person has kochot. Everyone is limited to the kochot they have, right? Nobody can do everything. Some people think they could. Very soon they find out they can't. A person has to know where to channel his energies. They have to know how to, what to invest in, what not to, what do I do with my time? Okay? Eddie, I'd love to speak out of Isaac, but I just don't know him very well. It's like I feel like I'm sitting at a wedding. Like I know the chatan, but I don't know the kala. I know the chatan, I don't know the But if Isaac works with Eddie, then he must be a great person. I met him just tonight, and I see Baruch Hashem. But there's Eddie. I know I can speak about him for hours. I'm not going to do it. Okay, he knows whatever I say. You guys know he's a wonderful person. But the two of them together, they call it. This is why I brought the story from Rav Yehuda Adis. The two of them. Eddie called me about 2 weeks ago. He said, I'm coming. Now listen, here's two guys who have a business. They're working, right? They have plenty of what to do with their lives, right? They're coming to Israel. So instead of, Rabbi Fayazi, could you find us a nice tour guide that's going to take us to the right places, or if you want to be like really, really tzaddik, could you get us into Rav Chaim? Could you get us into, this Rav and the other Rav, etc.? Okay, now I'm sure you guys are probably going to do that, right? You're probably going to
Sure.
You'll do that, of course. But that's not what Eddie told me. Eddie called me up and said, Rabbi, I want to do something for the boys. I said, okay, what do you want? What do you want? So originally it was supposed to be a bonfire. If the weather would have been better, we would have probably done a bonfire and a meal, etc. But he says, but I want to tell you what I want to do. He said, I want it to be a night of Chizuk for the boys. Okay? 2 guys got off the plane this morning. Okay, they hardly had a chance to even, I don't know how they're even awake. But what they had in mind was, we're going to Israel, not because we found like most of it, oh, I got a $450 flight going through, no, so, like, let's go to Israel because it's cheap and like, they came with a purpose. They're going to have their enjoyment, they're going to have their fun. But they care about you guys more than they care about anybody else. And they're going out of their way. Now there was another, at this same shul that I prayed in, there was another story that happened. There was some guy who made a Hachnasat Sefer Torah. And whoever, I think maybe it's Rabbi Yehuda or somebody else got up to speak, and he said, I'm going to tell you how wonderful this person is. He goes, not only did he go, and all his praises, he went and gave a Sefer Torah, but he sat to the last detail. I want to make sure that there's a Seudah. I want to make sure that the same thing. He told me that we have to have wine because without wine it's not going to work. And we have to have music. I spoke to Isaac, no, music. I want it to be a kumsitz, and I want it to be a matzah. I want it to be this, I want it to be that. All right, so I get like this. But also, when I heard Isaac speak, I'm like, wow, this is pretty amazing. I was going to actually tell you afterwards, we should tell you stories to Rabbi Yashua, put it into the book. But he told me all in the book already. But I'll tell you one thing, guys one thing that I was, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard you speak was in the yeshiva. So I get up and I tell boys, yeah, Munah, Torah, whatever. So I know what most of the guys are thinking. All right, yeah, the rabbi is going to say that because that's his job. That's what they teach him in rabbi school, right? So of course I'm going to say that. I'm not going to tell you to do something else. Because when we have somebody who's out there in the business world and who lives the world of Manhattan and the rat race and the fighting and this, and they're coming and telling you guys, listen, you got to learn because that's the bottom line. You got to pray because that's the bottom line. If you want to be successful, this is it. Eddie, when he left, told me, Rabbi, the biggest mistake I ever made was leaving. I should have never left the yeshiva. I should have stayed. And then he came back for 2 weeks. Ended up being 6 months. Because he couldn't go away. Everybody who leaves, everyone who's here who leaves, and I'm talking to the guys who are in the yeshiva, the minute they leave, they say, what did I leave for? Why did I leave? I wish I could have come back. Shana Bet. I want to come back Shana Gimel, Shana Dalet. Right? You heard it not from me tonight you heard it from somebody who works in business, who's been where you were more or less, and now he's out there. What you guys aspire to be, some of you, in the future, these guys are already doing it. These guys are already living it. And what are they telling you? They're telling you that this is the best time of your life. So it's not just the rabbis. We didn't learn this in rabbi school. He says it, Isaac said it tonight because he lived it. He lives it. He knows. I say it not because I'm in Manhattan and I know which is better, but because I heard from 1,000 Isaacs already what goes on out there and what goes on out here. So hopefully, Be'ezrat Hashem, I hope that we said the whole Seudah and all the Divrei Torah are refuah for Yosef Chaim ben Malka, number 1, and number 2 should be Tzlacha of both Eddie and Isaac. They should be zochet to many, many mitzvot. And you guys should know, I hope everyone's going to walk away the music. Rabbi Kabesa, we have to thank very, very much. He organized the music, and it should be good. I'm definitely 100% sure that you guys are going to walk away. I got a chizuk from it. You walk away with this chizuk, and you should know that all of it will be for the zechut of their businesses and their families. Isaac for his wife and children, and Be'ezrat Hashem, Eddie should be zocher. This was just an introduction. Eddie, take over right now.
Try to answer that one. Rabbi Kessler said everything I was going to say.
Okay, thank you, Eddie.
Really special being here again, I have to say that. Thank you to all the rabbis that put this together, Rabbi Biazi, Abraham, everybody. Basso, the band was great. It is great. I don't know where you guys are going. Isaac, really thank you. This is amazing. But basically everybody's saying tonight, we're here for Chizuk and to really, keep us going. We're here. What month are we in? 4 months deep, 5 months deep. This is just an introduction to the year. Hanukkah is really like the mark of time. If you haven't got there yet, that's it. It's time. Get focused. Get going. realize that that's it. You're only here another couple months, and maybe, you know, you have next year. I mean, I really do hope so. I think everybody should really be here. You shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't hit you by the age of 26 to realize what this is all about. It's not like that. You have to realize now. You have to learn from guys like me and Isaac Haber and Kumar, who came back last year. For guys that don't know him, you know, 25, 26 years old, who came back despite the pressure of the family and making money and doing it all. You know, you have something on your mind. You want to get closer to Hashem. You want to do that emet. You want to, you know, put the sheker behind you. You don't want to deal with it. You want to just learn Torah and do what's real. And what's real, and, you know, the truth to happiness is the Torah. I'm going to tell you guys, you know, as the rabbi said, you know, Isaac did it, you know, hands-on. Also another one, you know, I came here when I was 18 years old. Sorry for the Sean and Beck guys and the rabbis who've heard this before. But I feel like there's a lot of guys here that should hear this. I really do think that you know, 18 years old, came, I left early for my brother Avi's bar mitzvah. I ended up staying home for like a month and a half, 2 months, and I'll never forget the rabbi sat me down and goes, "What are you doing? Like, don't go." I'm like, "Nah, Rabbi, it's my brother's bar mitzvah, I'll be back." He goes, "I don't care. Here's the money for your plane ticket. I don't care. Stay here, stay here." Biggest mistake of my life. I left. I didn't listen to the rabbi. You know, you really got to listen to the rabbis. It's not just here. You know, you got to follow the. You got to really follow the system. Is what you really need to do. It's not you're gonna come here, go home, and come back. If you go home, that's it. You're 2-3 months behind. Whatever you gained here in 3 months, you go home, you're a couple months behind. You're not going to get it that way. You got to follow the system, really dig deep, and really keep going at the system, you know. So what I was saying, you know, I gave